Chapter 3. Identifying critical performance indicators for your market. For the purposes of this book, we have identified 3 critical performance indicators of any market for contractors to monitor. Number 1, demographics. Number 2, building permit rates and valuations. Number 3, property taxes and bond issues. To begin, let's take a look at demographics and how they are important to you and your company. Contractors may be hesitant to incorporate demographic trends into their operations, but over time this can be an invaluable source of information. Not only can it help you determine what areas to maintain operations or expand into, it may provide you with an opportunity to coach your clients and help earn their trust for the long haul. The simplest and most reliable method of determining population growth trends is through data provided by the U.S. Census Bureau. The Bureau's database and tools, such as American Fact Finder, can easily be monitored and help you keep track of important trends. Information can be found at the state, county, city, town, or zip code level, and can be compared to total U.S. figures and national averages. As an example, let's take a look at information available for Nashville, Tennessee. Using the U.S. Bureau's Quick Facts, we can easily identify total population, 2-year growth rates, median household income and poverty rates, and persons per square mile, to name a few. While the formal census is done every 10 years, the Bureau provides yearly updates and estimates to its database. Census data is an invaluable source of information, particularly if you are hoping to compare growth rates between states, counties, and cities. However, it is not the only source of information that may prove useful to you. More detailed information may also be found on your local government website or through a simple phone call to your local government office. Your Chamber of Commerce may also be a quality source for growth trends. Wherever you get your information, it is important to keep a record of what you have found. Using our previous Nashville example, you will begin to understand where the population is heading based on population trends by zip code, and you will be able to monitor the types of businesses that are moving and growing in the Nashville area with data provided by entities such as the local government and Chamber of Commerce. Having a record of this information gives you a strategic advantage over the competition, many of whom will not even be thinking along these lines. If you can aim your sales efforts at areas that you know have been steadily growing over the past 2 to 3 years, you can stop wasting time and narrow down quality projects to go after. Not only that, but you may be able to get in at the early stages of regional population expansion and begin to network with new customers that may turn into years of steady and reliable growth. Building permit rates and valuations. The process for monitoring building permit rates and valuations is definitely in the weeds type of work. However, it will help you identify key areas in the towns, cities, and counties around you that you wish to expand into. To begin, you will need to identify the city or county property tax assessor's office or codes administration office. Most of these offices, particularly in more heavily populated areas, will have websites that are simply a web search away. These offices provide the information you will need. Many local governments provide a monthly or annual update on permits issued within their jurisdiction, which typically include the address, project type, commercial or residential, valuation, owner, and contractor or architect working on the project. In some instances, however, you may need to issue a formal information request with the local government. This information is beneficial to you for several reasons. If you begin to record these permits, you can get a good indication of the type and amount of work being done in these markets. You can start to get a sense, backed with hard data, of where the construction market is heading in these localities. Secondly, you will also be armed with information on the amount and type of work being done by your key competitors in the area. It is one thing to hear their name being thrown around by clients and your own staff. It is quite another to see the work they are doing on paper. You may even be able to detect trends and anticipate where you will be competing with them in the future. Property taxes and bond passages. Similar to research on building permits, property taxes and bond passage research will take a little bit of time. To begin, property tax revenues can provide a good indication of strong economic growth in a region. While not the only factor, it shows a few important things for contractors to know. Property tax revenue history is typically provided by the local government, either in an annual report or via some other means. Again, in some instances, you may need to issue a formal request with the local government to obtain this information. The U.S. Census Bureau monitors and records tax revenue for state and local governments as well. While this data may not be as up to date, it will provide a good historical perspective for certain states and local governments that you are looking into. Consistent and rising property tax receipts indicate a healthy housing market. Positive indicators in this area will likely coincide with the demand for other types of facilities, be it schools, retail shops, restaurants, hospitals, etc. The key here is simple. An area that has shown consistent property tax revenue should indicate a growing community that will need construction projects in the future. Successful bond passages, whether they are for new schools or infrastructure improvements, are also a good indicator for a growing construction market. Primarily, these bonds will lead to projects for new schools, roads, and other infrastructure improvements. However, voter approval of bond measures also indicates a willingness on the part of taxpayers to make certain investments, i.e., spend more money on the community. While not always the case, bond passages should indicate a city or county that is growing and will likely be requiring more construction projects in the future. Now that you have an understanding of the types of indicators to look for, let's jump to Chapter 4 and lay out practical steps you can take with your company in this area. Chapter 3. So what? Monitoring and understanding the critical performance indicators highlighted in this chapter will not only help any contractor understand their own work area, but will provide key insights into any market expansion undertakings as well.